With inventory on the rise for new construction, you may see homes listed earlier than normal for some builders. Purchasing a home under construction isn't for everyone, but if you are a savvy buyer and willing to use your imagination, you can capitalize in this market by purchasing a home under construction. The following 10 questions I'd ask when purchasing a home under construction, and hopefully you find value in this video. Of course, these questions are in no particular order of importance, but just a list of questions that I would ask a builder. Question number 1, what is the timeline for completion? This is your first introduction to how the builder will communicate expectations. You could have a home to sell or you could have a lease ending, so timing is super critical. So you need to know how confident the builder is in their timeline and what could hinder getting the home done in that certain time period. Number 2 question I'd ask, can you make changes to the current selections? Depending on the stage of the construction and the builder rules, sometimes you can make some changes to the selections of the home. Bonus, it's not every day that you can do that when you're going to purchase a home, which is great. You don't get to have that with the pre-existing home inventory. The number 3 questions category that I would ask around is predictable escrow holdbacks. What? You might be asking, what in the world is that? I'll explain. There's a limited amount of items that can be left undone once construction is complete, but you still get the certificate of occupancy, which allows you to move into the home. Depending on where you live and the season you're in and when construction's going to be complete, you may not be able to pour, for instance, concrete for the driveway or the patios or the walkways. So here's the follow-up questions to ask the builder around this. Do you anticipate having to have an escrow holdback for a driveway or other things? What's your process for that? What spot in line would you be in when it comes to that point? Are there other homes in front of you? You just need to know if you're going to have to live with a gravel driveway for a certain period of time. They're not going to be able to nail down a specific day, of course, if it's weather permitting, when you're going to get something like a driveway or sidewalk, but you need to get some sort of feel of when they believe you would get your driveway. Number 4 would be communication expectations. How often will you hear from the builder or the builder's rep? How will this be communicated? Do they have an app? Do they do phone calls, texts, emails? You just need to know how often and how you will be communicated with and hold them to it. I would suggest that if it's a phone call, I would email to the builder in writing what you discussed. That is a pro tip because certain things can be forgotten. You ever forget? Happens to me. So during a conversation, make sure you take notes. Email back what you communicated. Some standard communications would be progress on the home, of course, or we expect to receive this, that, or the other thing in the following week. Or it could be something like, okay, how do we communicate if something was selected for the home and it's no longer available? Will I be given the opportunity to pick my own or upgrade, or you just make the change for me? We need to know how those communications are going to happen so you don't end up at the final walkthrough and there's different things in the home than what you expected. You also need to know how they plan to communicate guided tours of the home during construction, depending on where you're at. If you're starting when it just was framed, not even at the rough-in stage of the home, okay, do I get a walkthrough prior to when there's drywall up? Do I get a walkthrough when trim is going up, paint, etc.? Ask that and ask how it's going to be communicated so you can have your walkthroughs throughout the process. Obviously, you're going to have one at the very end, right before you close. Number 5 would be inspection expectations. Does the builder allow inspections to be performed on the home? Pro tip, if they don't, you need to run. Here's some follow-up questions after you get the answer to that. Of course, if the answer is no, you need to run, but if they say yes, here's the follow-up questions. How often can the home be inspected? Do you allow inspections to happen before the certificate of occupancy is in place? Can we inspect at rough-in? Can we inspect when other things are happening to the home, like trim and drywall? How often do you allow us to have inspections, or do you just allow them at the end? Some builders will allow them, but it needs to be a completed project. You just need to know that ahead of time. Another follow-up question would be, how do you respond and what steps do you take when something does come up on the inspection report that is incorrect? Stuff happens. You need to know how they handle it and how they've handled it in the past. Obviously, things need to be repaired, but sometimes inspectors and builders don't agree on how things should be put together. So it's likely you might have to get, in that case, the subcontractor back and to give you some warm and fuzzies about the feeling. Number 6, you need to ask questions about the certificate of occupancy. I've said it before, but the certificate of occupancy is what allows you to move into the home. It's passed all the code inspections. Now it's ready for you to live in it. You can't move in until you have the certificate of occupancy. You need to ask questions like this: how soon do we need to close once we have the certificate of occupancy? Some builders want you to close within a week, some within 2 weeks. That's really important because your lender might not be able to do the final appraisal until that certificate of occupancy is in their hands. So it's important to ask questions around that certificate of occupancy. And most important is going to be, when do you expect to get the certificate of occupancy? The number 7 questions to ask is about the walkthrough process. We talked about when you can walk through at different times for inspections, but also, do you get a final walkthrough once the home is completed with the builder or the person in charge of building the home and their warranty rep? That is huge because you need to know how the home functions, what sort of the high level warranty items are, and what to look out for in the home before you move into it. You need to know what this flooring care is, how to take care of your humidifier, things like that. You need to know, so then you can also ask questions around the warranty, what warranty they provide. You should probably know that before you enter a contract, but reiterate and get things in writing about the warranty. And you're going to want to have the walkthrough about 2 to 3 business days prior to closing because of the number 8 category to ask questions around, the punch list. So the punch list will be items that are undone or maybe they missed during their quality walk that you need to have taken care of prior to closing. Now, there could be some instances where there has to be something done once you close, but get that in writing. Make sure that it's in writing and signed off by the builder and you, that that's going to be taken care of. For instance, a lot of times windows take a long time to order and get in place. Things happen on the job site. There might be a crack from installation. You could be waiting on that, but do whatever you can to have it be the least intrusive to you when you're living in your home. Here's a pro tip about the punch list. Make sure you know who is going to be communicating with you about the punch list items remaining. So you have a contact, because sometimes the project manager, it might be a handoff from them to somebody in the warranty department. You need to know who you need to be in contact with and hold accountable to get those items done and taken care of. The number 9 question category is about what's included in the purchase of the home. So this is found out before you enter into contract, but what appliances are included. Most likely it's not going to be the washer and dryer, but most importantly, what kind of warranty is included in the home? Is it a 1-year, 2-year, 10-year? You need to know that, and you need to receive a booklet from them spelling out what is considered a warrantable item or action and what is not. You might also get included in your warranty package of a drywall repair. We know that things tend to dry down, maybe a little bit of settling, falling into place, which isn't the best language to use when purchasing a home, but things do happen with the drywall. Do they have someone come back and repair the drywall? Do they paint it? You need to find out all of those questions ahead of time. Some other questions to ask about what's included. Typically it's not, but is landscaping included? Obviously, if you're buying a single family home, probably not, but a condominium, there should be, because you're paying for all the lawn and snow care maintenance. You shouldn't have to plant the grass yourself. And number 10, quality control. You need to ask your builder what they do for quality control. A final walkthrough, in my opinion, is not good enough. Do they have someone that comes in and inspects the jobs before they hit the different stages of construction, or is it just kind of let things go until the end? That is really important to find out, because a lot happens before the walls are covered up and a lot happens after, but it's pretty intrusive to get something taken care of that hasn't been caught prior to the drywall going up. Some questions to ask is, what if something's completely wrong from what was supposed to be there? For instance, maybe the cathedral ceiling pitch was off, or maybe it's missing a vanity sink. Be familiar with their process of how they handle that so you can hold them accountable and hold them to their word. Those are the 10 questions that I would ask when purchasing a home under construction. It can be kind of scary, but if you have a certain timeline you need to hit, if you're relocating or if your lease is coming due, it can be a really good opportunity to purchase a home and not have that stress of of getting down to the wire with the move of finding a home. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please comment if you have any other questions you've asked in the past. Please let me know if you found this information valuable. Again, I'm Brandon Faber. I'm with the Faber Group of RE/MAX of Grand Rapids. Thanks for watching.